Good morning, dear Sangha. Before we start, I would like to invite every one of us allow ourselves to breathe with the image that we like a lot. For example, a flower or a rock or a leaf or your children. And you can now call the name of that image and allow that image stay in your heart. And this morning I would like to breathe with my flower, and its name is our teacher. Its name is Thầy and his smile. So I would like to invite every one of us close our eyes. Sit comfortably. And our sister will invite 3 sounds of the bell for us to breathe. And we have the opportunity to breathe in and out at least 9 times with the 3 sounds of the bell. Thank you. Dear respected Thầy, dear beloved Sangha, today is 25th of March 2018, and we are in Lower Hamlet. And we are in the first mindfulness day of the spring, and welcome everyone to the kingdom of the present moment. That is the real address of Plum Village. in Lower Hamlet, there was a group of sisters who went to the mountain together. And we just were away from Lower Hamlet 10 days. But when we get back home, I felt that I was a bit late for the spring. I felt that I just was directly from the winter, from the snow mountain to the spring. There's no transition in between. And normally every year I would like to go around Lower Hamlet to welcome back our friends, the little daisies, the dandelion, the hyacinth, the dahlia, the crocus, everywhere. The small flowers, the primrose, the sign of the spring, everywhere. But this year, from getting back from the mountain, I was very surprised because in all the garden in Lower Hamlet, I can see the friends of the spring already blooming. It's very fresh, very beautiful. And I also see the beautiful and hard working, loving working of my sisters working in the garden. They use their lazy days, lazy time to plant more flowers for Lower Hamlet. You can see in the other side of dining hall, there's a new garden of flower, and also the garden in front of this hall. And in this time, I feel that every day I like to go to the forest to just welcome the new leaves. And if I don't come for 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, I will see a big difference. The baby leaves bloom just as beautiful as flowers. Now there's quite a lot of beech trees around here, and also some birch tree, or the oaks. The oak is a bit later. But I can feel the green is everywhere. Even their leaves haven't been bloomed totally yet, but I can feel the green like coming, blooming and springing. And it brings me a lot of joy. I remember in our monastic retreat in the end of February and the early March, we have a monastic retreat for 10, 11 days in Upper Hamlet all together. The brothers and sisters from Upper Hamlet, from Sangha, from New Hamlet, Lower Hamlet, EIB, and Maison de l'Inspire, we gather together in Upper Hamlet. And we have just like festival of monastics. And we had a very wonderful time all together. And there was one workshop that impressed me a lot. It was given by one of my brothers about the depression. Actually, I was cooking on that day. I could not come. But I asked him to record for me, and I listened to later. And it will touch me a lot because he shared very truthfully from his heart about his real life story. How he got into the depression and how he practiced to accept, to embrace, to transform, and also to nourish his joy, his happiness, his aspiration. And he is one of the very aspired brothers that we have. and I learned a lot from it. It's helped me to understand myself more. In the year 2012, when I got back to Lower Hamlet for many years in Vietnam, I was quite sick and exhausted. And there's one day Thầy invited me to come to his hermitage. And I don't know the reason, but I came. And I spent time with him in his library, just two of us. And he has a library, there's a lot of good books. I like his library a lot. And he has the altar of the Buddha and the ancestral altar in his library. He usually work there and also have some rest. And at that time there was a hammock by the bookshelf. And he enjoyed lying on the hammock a lot. And I was sitting next to him. And he just talking to me something after a while, asking me, "Oh, how are you doing? How is Lower Hamlet? How is your younger sister, etc." And he started to teach me how to breathe with the sound of the clock, tick tock, tick tock. Simply, he just taught me that, Thuần Khánh, when you put the little alarm clock, the little clock next to you in your room, on your study table, you can listen to the sound. Breathing in, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and breathing out. Just listen to that sound and breathe. And I was not so pleasant at that time because I didn't understand why Thầy taught me that. And I told myself, well, I know this already. But yeah, I said nothing and knocked my head, yes, Thầy. And afterward, he shared his story about his depression. He said that, I gone through my depression during the Vietnam War in Vietnam, and also the passing away of my mom, etc. He tell his story, and I still didn't understand why they told me that stories, but I listened attentively. Yes, and I get back to Lower Hamlet. I didn't do anything. I didn't practice along with whatever Thầy taught because I didn't understand why Thầy taught me that. And the second time, I didn't remember. I don't remember what is the reason. But Thầy also called me again to Hermitage, the same place, the same spot, and the same lesson. Also about listen to the tick-tock, the click sound of the clock and breathe. Okay, something happening. This time I knew that, well, I have to try. I need to do it. Okay, so I find a clock. And at the beginning, it was disturbed me a lot because I have migraine. I have headache quite often, and I didn't feel pleasant when listening to the very regular sound like that in the room. But then I don't know why, but I feel in my heart that I need to do this. Thầy want me to do this because of some reason. So I do it, and it's become a favor of my practice now. I like it a lot, and after 1 or more than 1 year, later when I recover from my my difficult times, I recognize that I was in depression quite deep. At that time, I didn't recognize what I was going through, in the time I was in Vietnam, and also in the time I get back to Lower Hamlet. And maybe through my letters, through my sharing with Thầy, he understood something. He knows something more than me. He understood me more than me at that time. And I felt so grateful to him. And I continue to practice. And I just want to introduce this for you. This is my dear friend. Yeah. And we can also find our dear friends in our life by this or that way. And I keep reminding myself about this lesson. I remember there's during that time, during I was in depression, I like nature a lot. I like trees, I like flowers, I like the moon. And I remember one evening after dinner, I usually do slow walking to the popular group in front of this hall, and the young moon was usually rise up in this direction with the small star. And in that evening, I was standing and watching the young moon and the star. And suddenly I felt a blank in my mind. I felt there's no meaning about watching the moon. There's no beauty in that. What is it beautiful? People say the moon is beautiful. I heard a lot that the moon is beautiful. And I myself enjoyed watching the moon a lot before. But why at that time I felt so blank inside. And I feel the vacuum inside. It was so deep. Yeah. That feeling was quite scary. I think many of us have passed through that feeling. I was standing there and surprised to me that I never had that kind of feeling before that moment. I closed my eyes and I turn around and I go back to my breathing. But actually, at that time, my practice was very weak and it didn't help a lot. Then I get back to my room and be with my sisters. And the thing I see that I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have enough faith in my practice at that time. When I was quite deep in my sorrow, I see that it's very difficult to practice, kind of cultivate joy or bring happiness to ourselves, etc. I see that I need help. From after that evening, I knew very clearly that I need help, and I make a vow that I will say yes to whatever Thầy and the sangha wanted me to do. Even some of my elder brothers give me some supplement I say yes, I drank it. And Thai give me another supplement, something else to like, okay, this is good for your health. Okay, I took it. And another elder sister from America, she sent me something else. Okay, I say yes, I took it. And I just like totally body and mind took refuge in Thai and the sangha. And I did it a little bit, I don't know. But it's keep me continue. I just told myself, okay, never give up, keep continue. Again, when we were on the snow mountain, the young moon again came up. And I see in that evening, above the sky were a lot of stars. And the young moon, just like the smiling moon with the small star. And on the earth, there was a valley. There was a valley very down there. And there was also a lot of stars that were the lights from the city. But we looked from the mountain. I saw it was like star above and star below, and the smiling moon in between. And I was so shocked because it was so beautiful. And I remember my experience when I was there watching the young moon in Lower Hamlet in front of here, and seeing it was not beautiful at all. And I was so touched by the wonders of life that I feel very thankful to myself too. When I have joy and happiness, when I have faith in me, I am able to receive the love, the beauty, the support from outside. If I am too full by something, then even the moon is a moon. The moon was the moon and the moon is not the moon. But it is so different. I feel very thankful to myself as well. First, and I feel very grateful to Thai, to the sangha, to the practice, to my sisters, to my brothers. And with the practice of breathing, of being there, watching just the moon, I see that the element of joy in the practice is very important. If I am not able to nourish, to cultivate joy and happiness for myself, even my aspiration is great, even my ideal is great, I don't think I can do much. I don't think I can go far on this path joyfully and happily. And I would like to just share with you my story. And this morning I would like to share with you the elements of the Plum Village practices. What I have shared is the third quality of Plum Village practices, that we are able to live happily. We must find ways to enjoy the practice, to enjoy life, to live happily, to dwell happily. That is the third quality of Plum Village practices. When I first heard this teaching from our teacher, which is in one old Dharma talk from the audio since the year 1999. I wasn't here yet. Yeah? I came to Plum Village in the year 2000. When I listened to this talk again, I like a lot, and I find to study about this. This is like and sometimes thầy calls the three qualities, or sometimes they call the three elements of Plum Village practices, or sometimes they call the three foundations or principles of Plum Village practice. And he also said that if we understand these qualities clearly, then our practice will take progress quickly. Good news. So when I heard that, yeah, okay, let's try. The first one is in Vietnamese we call miếng mực. It means uninterrupted. And the second one is Hiền Pháp, the present moment. The first one, in Vietnamese, miếng means to lengthen, not interrupt, to make it long. And mực means very close to each other. There is no empty space between. Yeah. And in our practice, this is the way we see it happen in Plum Village. There's many friends who come here and who see that this is a meditation practice center, but they just do sitting meditation just for 30 minutes or 45 minutes a day, or even they have lazy day without any sitting. But actually the elements of uninterruption has happened. We be there not only when we do sitting in the hall, but also we are practicing meditation when we walk, when we eat, when we exchanging conversation, or even when we use the bathroom. we use the kitchen. I don't know, have you ever walked behind Thai, right behind him? Yeah. That's one time I was invited to Upper Hamlet to just play with Thai. Maybe something happened. Thai was there in his hut with his one attendant. There's a brother, attend Thai, and I and my second body. At that time, we were Sister Dang. Yeah, and two of us was being with Thai. Just like Thai treat us yogurt with the tuk tuk cake and apple. It's very he slide the apple and then eat with the cake. And afterward, he invited us to walk down to Sangha because in every morning in the winter he went there and do calligraphy. Yeah. And I was walking right behind him because the attendant walked behind me and my second body walked behind me, and I did imitate Thai's walking. I just do it for fun. I don't know. I like it. I really put my foot into his footstep, into his footprint. Yeah, I put my foot into his footprint, and I really close to him. And wow, I see that the energy of steadiness, of constant peace penetrate in me, and maybe that was a very successful walk-in meditation of mine. At that time I understand more about this, about the uninterruption elements in our practice. That we, when I watch Thais walking, I see he didn't try too hard to practice. The meditation becomes something very alive, very real in him, in his steps, in his smile. Sometimes he stopped and turned around and talked to us something. And I see it's this symbol, the joy and the happiness of life. Yeah. I also remember when I first came to Plum Village, in one Dharma sharing, our elder brother Phap An, he's now in EIAB, he shared that in that winter retreat for 3 months, he chooses one practice to do, that is wearing the monks and the nun robe. Yeah, there's many burden in this. And as a novice, we asked to wear this robe first. And there's many burden. We have to take it out every time we get out of this robe and take it in. And some of my younger sisters don't want to do that because it's lose time. It takes a lot of time to take this burden out and then put it in again. And I was so impressed by that sharing, that an elder brother make a vow to practice just one simple thing in 3 months. Wow. And after that, the next winter retreat, I did the same. I like to imitate him. I did the same. And it's turned out, it's just very joyful. So I just encourage my younger sister to do to do this. It's not, yes, it take some more time. But yes, it can bring us joy and happiness, and also the interest in the simple things that we have in during the day. For me, that is also the meaning of uninterruption. We can find many new ways to enjoy our practice, to enjoy our being in the simple actions, simple things during the day. This morning, my sister, my younger sister, came to me and said that we put the special flowers on for you for Dhamma talk. I said, what is it? You will see. You know this name of the flower? It's what I remember, if I remember right. This is a bleeding flower, bleeding heart flower. Right? Is that right? Yeah, if I remember right, it's a bleeding heart flower. And they told me that instead of saying bleeding heart, you can say the heart gone through suffering and it's become compassionate drop of yeah, compassionate drop. The compassionate drop? Yeah, something like that. So, something compassionate. Yeah, it means when we gone through suffering, we can enjoy our joy and happiness more. Okay, thank you, my dear. And the second qualities of our practice is present moment. This is, I think, every one of us knows about this. Many times in our life, we see that we are lacking of something. Yeah. My brother shared that he had his own house, he had a beautiful wife, he had his dog, car, and he thought that it was assured for a happy life. But it's turned out something very difficult and suffers for him. I was so touched by that real story of one brother that I thought that I knew, I understood. And when we are able to overcome, to accept, to overcome our difficulties, our suffering, then the capacity to be joyful, to be happy, to enjoy life will be much more stronger, will be deeper. And I like spring, but I also like winter. And all the plants, all the trees, they have been worked a lot so that they can survive through winter. we can feel the patience, the endurance of the trees in winter when they release all of their leaves, bearable, standing in the cold weather to wait for the spring come. Yeah, that image always touched me a lot. And I remember there's a poet, the Vietnamese poet. He wrote a lot of poems. He was like the same or a little bit later, a little bit younger than Thay's generation. He's Vũ Hoàng Chương. About this poem is about the spring, about the transition from winter to spring, and how the trees work painfully, wholeheartedly, to prepare to welcome the spring. Nụ đã trên cành đau đớn cựa, giờ thiên hấp hối đã nghe gần. Muôn vàng tế bào đang hủy thể, vâng theo ý lớn nhịp xoay vần. Nụ đã trên cành đau đớn cựa. I just read some sentences. The buds, the baby leaves on the branches, painfully moving, painfully preparing. Giờ thiên hấp hối đã nghe gần. The sacred time of dying and being born is close. He was describing the tree in the time that the tree prepare herself to give born to the new leaves. It's very sacredly and it also very painfully. And we can see the dying and the reborning happening at the same time. And at this time of the year, I feel that energy a lot. I think we all feel that energy a lot in the plants, in the trees, yeah, in every beings, not also human beings, but all beings around us. And if we are there, if we are in the present moment, we can feel that deeply. We can see that. We can touch that. Just by coming back to our breathing, we can see, we can touch, we can feel very deeply the joy of life, especially in this time of the year. And whenever we are in the present moment, especially for those who have gone through suffering, for those who have gone through difficulties, for those who have gone through winter. And I don't think that any of us sitting here have not gone through any. Yeah. Or less or a lot, or here and there, we all have gone through difficulties and sufferings, obstacles. So use that experiences so that we can bring up the energy of joy, of happiness, to be there in the present moment. Yeah, and the third element, the third qualities of our practice here is lạc trụ, is living happily, dwelling happily. When we are able to be joyful in our heart, in ourselves, then it's very easy for us. Easy for us to, for everything, especially communication. Easy for us to communicate with ourselves. Easy for us to live in family, in the sangha, to have good communication with in here and out there. And the practice must contain the elements of joy in it. Yeah, it's not a hard labor. The practice of Plum Village is not trying too hard to become some enlightened one. Yeah. If I practice very seriously, very diligently, become very bright, and then when I see my sister, they don't practice, I just tell them, come on, what you doing here? Then it's not a real Plum Village practitioner. Yeah. And if you spend a lot of time to learn sutras, a lot of time to do sitting meditation, and you get out there of the meditation hall and you see your brothers and sisters walk too fast, talk too loud, then you feel irritated, then please, please stop and look back to yourself. There's something wrong in there. If Thai is here, they will invite you to the hermitage. Well, that's a skip. I remember one of my story. Yes, I'm a good practitioner. There's one time we have retreat in Upper Hamlet, and group of the sister from Lower Hamlet and New Hamlet came over and support the brothers. I think that is the wake up retreat. And there's the 5 mindfulness training ceremony, the 5 mindfulness training transmission ceremony. Yeah, and we were just a few sisters sitting in the front line of the sister side, and the brothers on the brother side, and we were sitting facing with each other. And I also was there with my sangati sitting on my mat and cushion very beautifully. Yes, very beautifully. And very mindfully, brightly. And after the ceremony, I thought so. After the ceremony, when the group of brothers and sisters we were sitting together eating ice cream and then talking something, and there was, sorry dear brother if you are here, there was a brother who shared with me that dear elder sister Siji, you know, I think many people admire you when you sat so beautifully in the ceremony. I asked him, which ceremony? And he told me, the ceremony this morning, that you were sitting very beautifully. I said, really? You look at me? And he said, yes, I was in front of you. I was in the second line, and then was in front of you. And I saw that you were sitting very beautifully. And I laughed to myself, and I really. So I asked him again, are you sure? And when? And he said, maybe about when the brother read the second or the third mindfulness training. And I look at him and I laugh. I say, you know what? I thought I fell asleep at that time. And he tried to convince me, no, you was very straight, very beautiful. And even I saw you smiling. You were smiling too. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness. I told him, hey dear brother, I thought that I was dreaming something joyfully. I was sure, very sure that I fell asleep at that time and dreamt about something joyfully. And he stared at me, very disappointed. Oh, I'm sorry. I told him that I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I must tell you the truth. Okay, so when we went back to Lower Hamlet, I could not keep myself from telling this story to my sisters. So I tell them, and we laugh a lot. And there was one of my younger sisters asked me, Shuko, did you feel guilty when you disappointed him? I said, sorry, but no. I didn't feel guilty when I disappointed my brother, but I did feel guilty when I felt I was, I don't know how to say, I was a bit fulfilled, a bit joyful when I tell the truth. I don't know why, but well, I know it has happened to me. I fell to sleep in the ceremony. And my younger sister tried to comfort me that, okay, I think it's okay. Well, you were still good because you didn't fall out of your cushion. Okay, luckily. And she also continued to comfort me that, it takes many years for you to even fell to sleep but didn't fall out of the cushion. So be careful, huh? Sometimes we see that, oh, that is a good practitioner, but not sure. Okay, I get back to the third, the third quality of our practice again. That we all have a habit of trying too hard. We all have a habit of trying to become perfect. Then sometimes we lose our joy. Sometimes because of that we lose the simple joy, the simple happiness, the very small things that we do make us happy. And I just want to say that I practice this tradition for some years now, and until now I am still very interested to discover the new things in this practice. And I want to say that I want to be a happy nun. Yeah, I want to be a happy sister. Yesterday when we share the practices with the new friends who come to Plum Village, I have told the friend in Lower Hamlet that I like to be happy, I like to smile, and I also like to see others happy, and I also like to see others smiling. And whatever I like to receive, I also would like to offer. And we are here practicing as a sangha, as a community, as a family. Yeah. And we are finding ways to interest ourselves in this practice. And I just want to say that I do it very happily. even yet for sure I am not a very bright and good and perfect practitioner. And as I shared before, when we are able to have a good communication with ourselves, then it's very easy to maintain or to re-establish a good communication with others. And I would like to share something about communication. Maybe we will listen to the sound of the bell before we continue. I remember in one summer retreat, maybe 2 years ago, there was a Spanish woman in my Dharma sharing family, my Dharma sharing groups. And when we go around the circle in the Dharma sharing time to share what brings you to Plum Village, what is the reason you come here. And she shared that she comes to Plum Village because she wants to learn how to listen to her son. Yeah, it was just like that. And every one of us in the circle was so happy and also impressed by that. It's very clear and simple wish that the mom would like to listen to her son. And Thầy always remind us that if you really love someone, if we really love someone, we need to train ourselves to become a listener, a good listener. Yeah. And first, if we cannot listen to ourselves, we cannot listen to others. If we don't understand what's happening in ourselves, then it is very difficult to know what's happening with your son, with your daughter, with our beloved ones. And sometimes we think that we understand that person, but maybe that it's just an idea, or maybe just our wish. Maybe just our wish, or maybe just our worry or concern about that person. It's not a real person from that person. So I try to describe the communication like a tree. First, as we know that first, if we would like to have a good communication with others, we need to establish or have a good communication with ourselves. So I write that it is like communication with ourselves. with the practice of coming back, of stopping after the desire, stopping and coming back to ourselves, we can be able to understand ourselves. And here we emphasize a lot on the practice of breathing and step. And many times we heard that our body is here, but our mind is somewhere else. I think if you are here for the first time, you see that very clearly. That okay, you arrange everything to be here, but you still worry something happening at home or for your children. Maybe you forget the key, or maybe you forget to close the back door, and you keep worrying about that. And sometimes we are losing ourselves. Even we standing here, even I'm standing here, but if my mom, there's something happening for her, for sure that I'm worried. And if I'm not practicing being with myself, being with my breathing well, then I drag myself. I am carried away by the worry about my mom or about anything. It doesn't mean that we do not have the right to worry for our beloved ones. But with the practice of being ourselves, with the practice of conscious breathing, mindful steps, then we can be fully present. Just by being fully present, we can have something for ourselves and for our beloved ones. So, I would like to do here as like the beetroot. It is our breath and our step. And this practice is just like the bridge to connect the body and mind. This morning before I came here, my roommates, my younger sister, they sang to me a song and wished me a good time. They sang, whenever I wake up, I feel happy. What else? I forget. Whenever I walk, I feel happy. What else? Whenever I rest, I feel happy because I have learned to look deeply. Yeah, this is. And I told them that, wow, it's coincidence. I'm going to say something about that. Many times that we forget that we have body. We busy planning something in our head, and we forget that we have the bright eyes. I forget that I have bright eyes. Then when I was watching the moon, I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel grateful. I didn't feel thanks to my eyes that I can watch the moon. Just simply come back to our body. Just simply call the certain organs in our body strong, healthy. Then it's already bring us happiness, bring us gratitude. Every morning when I wake up, I do some prayers. Yeah. I sitting on my bed and I pray for our teacher, for my mom, for my family, spiritual and blood family. Because I thought simply that if there's something happened to my mom in Vietnam, I cannot be here. Yeah. If she is sick, then I cannot be here peacefully, freely. So every morning I send my gratitude to all my beloved ones. And by recognizing, by the practice of mere recognition about the body, is already bring a lot of gratitude, of happiness for us. It is also the practice of present moment. In this very moment, the practice is for the present moment. In this very moment, we have that healthy body. It's not that we try to reserve our practice. Okay, today we try hard to practice so that 3 days later or 3 years later we have happiness. It's not like that. Right at the time that we coming back to our body, we coming back to our breathing, we see this body contains the good will, the great will of living. This body contains the joy, the very deep joy of being. Yeah. And good communication with ourselves is also to understand our mind. We come here just like our friend shared that she come here to learn how to listen to her son. She come here to learn how to breathe mindfully, how to walk mindfully, how to calm herself down. She shared that she had a hot temper. She's a hot tempered person, and it's very easy for her to get irritated to her son, and she wants to learn how to calm herself down and listen deeply to her son. It's very nice wish. To understand ourselves is to understand what is our happiness, what is our suffering, what we are going through in this moment. And I would like to share also with you about the way to be with our difficulties. There's 3 ways of practice with our very deep-rooted difficulties in our mind, or very deep suffering in ourselves. The first method is we call incorrect transformation. Just like when we are in the trees is very big, but it's very short. So when we have a good communication with our family, or a good communication with our sangha, sangha is also our friend. Then we have a lot of nourishment from these community. Sometimes we don't need to try a lot, but our habit energy are embraced by the sangha and transform itself. And the very deep difficulty lie in our store consciousness, get watered every day, and it changing every day by the presence, by the nourishment and the healing of the sangha, of the group of spiritual friends. And somehow we don't try to transform it, but it's transformed itself. And the second method is also we aware of our suffering. And at the same time, we need the support from our sangha. And from time to time, we invite the block of our suffering and sit with it. Whether it is a person, or a problem, or a feeling, that we invite that object of mind to stand, to sit in front of us and breathe with it, until we cannot breathe in peace, until we see that, emotion comes up, we are about to cry, then please release that object and come back to our breathing again. And the third method is for those who are very strong in the practice, very solid in the practice. Can we ourselves invite the block of suffering and be with it? For me, I normally I usually practice with this. Like I use one third of my sitting meditation time to just practice conscious breathing, about 10-15 minutes. And just breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I am with my body. Breathing out, I smile to my body. That is the time that we establish ourselves in solidity, in compassion, in love. And the second step, I invite the person I have difficulty with and invite her to sit in front of me. Yeah, just like I imagine that I'm sitting here and she's sitting there. And I breathe with her. And the first time, just after 2 or 3 breaths, I was about to get angry. And it feels hot in here. So I'm like, okay, bye-bye. So I come back to my breathing. And breathing in, breathe out again. And I do like that, keep doing like that. Just like the sunshine keep shining on the bud of the flower. And when the flower receives enough warmth, then it's open by itself. And the work of a practitioner is just like that, shining the light of mindfulness, the light of compassion on the subject that we would like to work on. And also like the person who sits by the river, who sit on the bank of the river and look at the flow, the current of the water flow by. The river may contain flowers, the river may contain the animal dead body, or the branches or the leaves, the garbage. And whatever we do, we just sit firmly, solidly on the bank of the river. Our mind, our feeling is just like that. It's just like a river flowing. And thanks to the practice of conscious breathing, we just sit firmly on the bank of the river. And whenever we see that, Sr Thuần Khánh, you already jumped down the river. You are carried by the current of the water. And I say hello to myself, and I jump up again. And okay, bye-bye. And I get back to my breathing again. I just do it like that for many times, for many months and many years. Yeah. And the longest time I practiced with this, and I practiced with my block of suffering was more than 3 years. I just keep doing like that. And again, I want to say, do not give up. Just continue it and be patient with ourselves. Yeah. And when we understand what's happening in our mind, what's happening in our body, and we can be able to be friends with ourselves, then it's easy to have a good communication with our family members, our beloved ones, or our sangha, our friends, or even, and also for me, also the nature, or the society, or your colleague, our brothers and sisters. And for me, this is the root nourish the tree. We can see that. But also the leaves nourish the root. We have like the contact, many directions. If we are a happy person, then even we don't try to make our family happy, they benefit from us. If we know how to take good care of ourselves, then the sangha will benefit from your presence. We can see that very clearly. That whenever I see my sister, even my younger sister or my younger brother, they are bright, they are intelligent, they are wholeheartedly in their studying and practice. Even they don't give me anything, even they don't come to me and help me anything, but I feel very happy. And I also feel very grateful to their presence in the sangha. And we just interact, we support each other a lot. And by the practice of stopping and coming back, we can maintain this relationship. We can maintain this kind of good communication. And I remember in that summer retreat in our family sharing, the Dharma sharing circle, that we was sharing a lot about how to practice loving speech and deep listening. This is also the essential practice to build the good communication. Have we ever understood the heart of the trees? That is one sentence in that poem. Have we ever understood the heart of the trees? She has been crying, she has been rejoicing since many times. Yeah. I just want to invite every one of us to be aware and to recognize the spring elements in ourselves. The heart, to put our heart also in the heart of the trees. Today, if you like, you can stand. You can stop by any baby leaves or any small flowers and look, just look and smile to them. Thank you so much for being there. And I wish you enjoy the day here all together in Lower Hamlet, and wish everyone have a happy spring, and also wish the Spanish sangha have a happy retreat. Thank you.